listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.
I'm gonna live till I die. I'm gonna laugh instead of cry. I'm gonna take the town and turn it upside down. I'm gonna live until I die.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Pink Lady Presents It Ain't Over Till You Say It's Over. My next guest, Art Schulman, says, Neil Simon is the Art Schulman outside of San Fernando Valley, but Art is the Neil Simon of the San Fernando Valley. I love it, and you are the Neil Simon. You are a very prolific writer, director, producer, actor. I'm excited to have you here. Tell me something. You were a college professor. How did that begin?
I applied for the job, and they said they got my resume, teaching resume, and they said, thank you for the resume. We'll keep it in the file. Okay, you know what it means when they keep it in the file.
Been there, done that.
Now, a year later, I get a call. They took it out of the file. They needed somebody.
And what did you teach?
I taught, I taught a course called Consumer Behavior.
Oh, what was that?
I still teach it.
Okay, what was that?
It's about why people buy products and who buys products.
Oh,
and,
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And you teach it at CSUN?
CSUN, yeah. I also teach. I was teaching something. I teach market research. I teach a general business course. But I had a very interesting course this past semester, and it's called Cultural Diversity in Business.
Oh,
and,
what's that about?
Well, I had different speakers. The thing about San Fernando Valley and also CSUN, it's a very diverse area and a very diverse campus.
Right.
But, and there's lots of different subgroups, but the people in different subgroups know about their subgroup, and it turns out they don't know about other subgroups.
Right.
And so in this class, it was for business honor students. I had various speakers from different subgroups come in and talk about the subgroups that they represented. I had a person who knew a whole lot about Islam. I had a rabbi. I had a Native American expert, and I had someone who really knows a lot about the Armenian subgroup. And I found out something very interesting.
And what was that?
This is from the rabbi. Okay. That there's no such thing as Jewish food. There's no such thing as Jewish food. Okay, how can that be true, you think, right?
True, right?
Okay, because the Jews over the years spread out into different areas of the world, and they assimilated very well into that culture.
I get it.
So what happened is, you may think that corned beef and pastrami are Jewish food.
Right.
That's because the Jewish people from Europe ate that type of food. If you went to a Moroccan Jew's home, they would have chickpea. They have other kinds of food from the Moroccan culture. If you went to Japan where there are Jews, you'll have Japanese food. So there's no such thing as Jewish food.
Well, I would take exception with that. I would say there's at least one thing that is identified as Jewish food, and that's matzah.
Matzah, that's true.
When the Israelites left,
true.
And then it was adopted by the Catholic Church, and they call it communion wafers.
Oh.
Unleavened bread. And it's a true story, because by accident, when I was in the European theater as an Air Force chaplain, I ordered matzah and wine for Passover. And instead of sending me 3 cases, they sent me 3 truckloads. And the Catholic chaplains at each of the bases where I was used the communion wafer and Magen David wine for 3 years for communion. True story.
I love it. Now, over the last 15 or so years, you produced the most plays in L.A.
I think, it's not produced, I have written. I think I've written the most original plays, different plays that have been produced, I think, over the next 15 years. I have usually at least one new play every year, sometimes more. This current year, I've had two.
And what were the names of those?
One of them is called I'm going to do this most recent one first. I Got Troubles, which was a dramedy.
Sorry.
And the other one is called, or was called, is called Whoopsie Doopsie.
Oh, and what is Whoopsie Doopsie
It's
about?
a comedy. The subject may not seem very funny, but it's
Yeah,
a comedy
go
about
ahead.
a 17-year-old boy who finds out that his girlfriend is pregnant. And it's a serious subject. It deals with some
Right.
serious themes.
Okay.
And anyway, that Whoopsie Doopsie is going to be produced at another theater starting in February.
Fabulous.
So, yeah.
Fabulous.
so-
And you also write a lot.
Yes.
So, I'm
well, not
looking at-
produced. I wrote all these plays. I'm only going to talk about the ones that I write.
Okay, but
Okay.
and what about the book?
I've written 3 books.
Yeah, and one of them is called Tyrus Carson's Ride. And what is that about?
That is a Western novel.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The next one
Is
is
Barnaby Brain.
Barnaby
What
Brain.
is that about?
That's about, it's a children's book, illustrated
Okay.
children's book. About a little boy named Barnaby. He's just born as a brain, and then he gradually accumulates different body parts till he becomes a whole boy.
That's funny.
Okay. And I wrote that in conjunction with my wife, who was her idea, and then it was illustrated by somebody else. I can't draw.
I love it. And then I know this one. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I love you.
You have to read the rest, what it's about. What is
Okay.
the rest?
Getting along with your mate after a squabble. A survival manual for men.
Right.
Well, tell me about that. Tell our audience about that.
Well, I mean, if a guy doesn't get along with his partner, how do you get back together? I'm not talking about something really, really serious. When
Right.
you have a squabble,
Yeah.
you just admit you're wrong. Say, I'm wrong. I'm
okay.
sorry. I love you.
Oh.
And what happens? You get back together again. Isn't that nice?
Now, was that into a play also?
No.
I thought it was.
No,
That would make a cute play.
Well, I have it inserted into the dialogue of some
Okay,
plays. Like,
okay.
I tell somebody gives it in one of my plays. One of the
Right.
people gives another person. You want to get along with better with your wife? Then this is what you do. You say, "I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I love you."
So how do you get all these ideas?
It comes in various ways. Sometimes I take a one-act play that I've written, I expand it.
Okay.
Sometimes I just start out with 2 characters who are adversarial in some way. My most popular play in terms of audience, it sells out wherever it's done, is called The Rabbi and the Shiksa.
Okay, we have to tell our audience what that is.
Shiksa basically is a
non-Jewish- a non-Jewish
woman.
person, right.
Yeah, and in some places, what's interesting about that word is I conceive of it, the word shiksa, as sort of like it's a derogatory, but not really that derogatory. It sort of
Okay.
like refers to like dumb blonde, that category,
Okay.
as opposed to a really. But other people think it's really a very derogatory name. So I have problems sometimes with
Yeah.
some groups wanting to produce it because. Jewish people aren't supposed to be derogatory
Correct,
against any group.
correct.
So we'll see what
But
happens.
you've had a lot of things going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the favorite play that you have ever written?
The favorite play, that's hard to, it's like.
I know.
It's asking,
Well,
what's
his
your-
favorite play or the public's favorite play?
Oh,
Public's
okay.
favorite play is The Rabbi and the Shiksa. It does well. You're asking me like,
I know.
parent, what's your
Which
favorite
baby?
child?
I know.
Right,
Which
baby?
one? I know.
Yeah.
I
So
know.
it turns out that some of the plays I think are not so good, other people think are the
Yes.
best that I've ever
Right.
written. So, it's hard for me to say which ones.
You
like
use
best.
people that I adore a lot. Shall we say the over 60 crowd?
Yes.
And why is that?
Well, I have some.
Not that I'm over 60. but- Go ahead.
I've written plays for seniors,
Okay.
but that's not it. I mean, that's not the only group I write for. First of all, senior actors.
Yes.
They have certain common characteristics. One is they tend to be more reliable than younger actors. Whenever we have a performance or a rehearsal
Right.
or audition, they are there before. Generally, they're early, very often before all the other actors.
Because they take this seriously.
Right, and they know their lines, but it takes them a long time for them to learn their lines. So you have to start
We ad
early.
lib a little bit.
Well, sometimes there was one actor, an older actor that I knew, who he knew, and we all knew, was going to forget his lines. And he had a way of dealing with it. The way he dealt with it, when he went up and he did remember his lines,
Right.
he would just say, and so on and so forth.
That's me. I love it. I used to play a lot at the Stage Door in Agora, and when I first began. And what happened was to learn lines, like we would do a play a week. So in a
Wow.
week, we'd have to learn the whole script.
That's
and it
hard.
was a little bit tough there. So I would know the gist of what I had to say, and as long as I got the N words right, because
Yeah.
that was the cue
Cue
to the
for the
next
next one,
actor,
yes.
I was okay.
Right.
So they let me pass.
Yeah.
It was good. So you have several current careers. Put them in order of importance.
Okay, 4 careers. One
ahead.
career is, I guess the main one in terms of my image of myself, is I'm a writer. Okay, that's the number one thing.
Right.
That's number one. 2 is college professor.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 is I still have a market research consulting business
that.
out of my house.
Love that.
And 4, I'm retired.
I'm not even going to go to the retired part. You're way too young to retire, way too proficient in what you do, and you have so many ideas. What's your next play going to be about? What are you thinking about?
Well, next play that could be is Whoopsie Doopsie, which is
Okay.
already done.
Done.
It'll be produced. The play after that is called The Maverick Professor. The Maverick Professor.
That sounds like a comedy almost.
Well, it's a dramedy.
Oh,
and it's
okay.
actually about sort of maybe a topical topic. It's something topical.
Okay.
It's about a professor, a male college professor, who's on the verge of getting tenure or not getting tenure, who becomes involved with a student, with a female student. And is he going to get tenure?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's the case of,
Kind of a no-no.
it's a no-no, yeah.
Right.
So, but he's a maverick, so he's going to try and do it. So I'm not going to tell you what happens.
No, don't tell me what happens. I want to see it.
Let's
I'll
go
read
back
it.
for just a second. The
Yeah.
play that you say is ready to go.
Yeah.
Whoopsie
Do
doopsie.
we know what theater it's going
No,
to be in?
I haven't scheduled
Not
it
yet.
yet. I
Well,
haven't
when you do,
scheduled it yet.
please let us know
Let us
so we
know.
can put it on
So
and
we
tell
can try
everybody
to
about
drive
it.
some
That would be
ticket
nice.
buyers to your
Yeah.
plays.
I'm
Have
sorry,
you
what?
already?
Let us know what theater when you
I
when
will.
soon as
I
you
will
know.
let you know the time
We'll
and
let
the
the
date.
public know.
Yeah.
Oh, the flyer is on now? Great.
Okay, good.
Tell me, have you already cast it and
No,
everything?
no, haven't
Okay.
done anything.
Oh, how many people
Yeah,
are in it?
5 people.
5 people.
And there are people who have been with me from the beginning, so I'll probably, if they're available, will cast them.
Okay.
But
Do you cast new people?
yes, all the time.
Okay, so-
I try to use people when I can that I know are reliable and are
Right.
good. But sometimes there's nobody who fits the role, who suits the role, so I go outside and audition. A couple of plays I even have to. I played the role myself. I act occasionally.
Uh-huh.
I act occasionally. Actually, I'm going to be doing acting at my theater company at the end of the month.
Oh, good. What are you doing?
I am going to play a table. Okay.
A table?
Yes.
Okay, where are you going to play a table?
On the stage.
Yeah, but where? What's it?
The Lonnie Chapman Group Repertory Theater. But when I'm going to play it is just for the theater company.
Oh, okay.
It won't be an audience.
We love that company.
Yes.
We love their shows. And
We work very closely with Kevin Dobson, who
Oh.
has been involved with the
Right.
company there. And who's the other one? Larry Ellison?
Yeah, Larry Ellison and also
Larry
Michelle
Eisenberg.
Burnett.
And Michelle Burnett.
Yeah,
yeah.
we're dear friends of mine.
yeah.
We just saw a Neil Simon comedy
Rumors,
there.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
fabulous,
Yeah.
About 3
fabulous show.
months,
Well,
4 months ago.
I don't know, our time is gone. I wish you all the luck in the world. I want to know
Okay.
more about where you're playing, what you're doing. Let us know. We'll promote it to our audience.
Okay.
And they will go and see you as an actor and enjoy your plays and your characters. And especially if you want to go to CSUN, take a class.
Right.
There you are.
Right. And for those who don't know, because we're seen worldwide, CSUN is the California University at Northridge.
Yeah, California State
State
University
University
at
at
Northridge, right.
And
Yes.
everyone, thank you, because we always have delightful people on, bright people who are energetic, like Art over here, and also people that are doing a public service with all he does with his shows. Because I've seen him, I know him, and I want to thank you so very,
Okay,
very
thank
much.
you.
God bless you.
Thank you,
Thank
Jackie.
you. We'll be
Okay.
right back. I believe it is not the breaths we take in life, that count. It's what we do with the breaths we take. And I should know. 84 years young. Today on this stage, you will see talented performers all over the age of 60.
Life is a cabaret, old chum. It's only a cabaret, old chum.
Money! You got lots of friends hanging around that door.
I'm gonna live and live now, 'cause everything's coming up roses.
Then your fingers touched my silent heart and taught it how to sing.
Dear, with your lips to mine, oh, rhapsody divine, sing with the strings of my heart.
To reach the unreachable stars.
But I've got to do it all in 3 minutes or less. How about maybe ragtime? How about boogie woogie?
Woo! Darling, let's dance. Let the music take us. The blues ain't gonna break us. We won't give it no chance.
Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
You've treated me so kind, I'm about to lose my mind. You made me so very happy.
So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
To reach the unreachable
Hey world, I am what
We are honored in so many ways to have Tommy Lasorda in our lives.
It was good to see the youngsters performing up there.
Miss Ann Margaret.
Senior Star Power Lifetime Achievement Award, Mr. Tony Orlando.
Hit it, my boy. Let's see what we get here. Come on, you know it. Let's do it together. You ready?
Now the whole place is cheering, 'cause they can't believe what they see. 100 yellow ribbons around the old tree. We gonna tie those beautiful ribbons, each beautiful ribbon. Oh yeah, just like that. Keep it right there.
It's a great honor to work with all these veterans performers, to work with Pink Lady.
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
It's not scary at all. It's just really exhilarating. I love to perform.
Have you been a pro?
No.
Pink Lady, she brought me here. It's a good thing for me starting right now.
I'm just really enthused to see the way she takes care of our veterans, and I'm a veteran also, and a thrill to be a part of the group.
Pink has opened the doors to bring awareness. This is what we love. This is who we are. This is our passion. We've just had so much fun, and the audience loves it.
It's not where you start. It's where you finish.
We're back.
And we're back. You know, I get so engrossed in the people that we're having on the programs these days that I'm like reading their bios and I'm like, wow, why can't I be like that? Pink Lady is back with It Ain't Over Till You Say It's Over. And we prove it all the time with handsome, phenomenal, talented gentlemen like the one we have right here, Mr. Alan Stilson. Hello, Alan.
Hi, how you doing?
I am doing good. Alan, to me, is what I call my Mensa king of the San Fernando Valley. And I say that because before we even go with, he's a author and all that stuff, we're going to go into it. But Mensa, tell our people about Mensa.
Okay, first of all, it's Mensa.
Mensa.
But that's okay.
Okay.
It is often mispronounced.
Okay, Mensa.
It's kind of like phenomenon and phenomena. One of those things
Right.
that, yeah, it's just a little hard to say. Mensa is a social organization for people with high IQs, top 2%.
Wow.
And it's a wonderful social place for people who maybe were kind of the class nerd once upon a time, and they might have been bullied a little bit because they were too smart and such. And every time they used a big word, people would say, "What the heck?"
Right.
In different words.
Yeah.
And anyway, but you could be comfortable just talking the way you want to talk when you're in Mensa and getting into intellectual discussions.
We had an experience at one of the conventions where we saw you.
Yes.
And Pink was a guest speaker.
And I was frightened to bits to go because I thought, oh my God, all these people and they're so bright and they're going to hear me and what can I, they were fabulous. They came over to me afterwards. They said, we love you. You're great.
They were charming. They were engaged completely. And they just kept coming in. As a matter of fact, some of them who started listening went out and got their friends and brought them in. And we ended up with a very large group of people listening to Pink.
Well, you got a group of people who are interested in learning things, and you got a very fine person to learn from.
Yes.
So,
and
good chemistry.
I want to share an experience when I first met Alan, which was a number of years ago. I'm guessing like 2010, 2011.
Yes.
We were doing, for veterans, we were doing Sabbath services at the Bel Air Presbyterian Church, Evans Chapel.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a new musical coming out.
Correct.
And we made contact. And
what
Alan
was that
came.
musical?
Thank You, Minerva.
Okay.
Yes, and it had magnificent songs, and you came with your wife and your son, and we, after the Sabbath service, Alan took over at the grand piano. It was wonderful. He sang some of the songs that he had written and that he was producing, and that goes back all those years, and I want to thank you for doing it. The veterans loved you.
Well, thank you. And I love to entertain groups of veterans and many, many different groups of people.
You, producer, author of musical theater, concerts, you're a pianist, but you moved to California in, I think it was 1976.
Right.
And why did you move to California? I always ask people, why did they move to California? Why?
Because my ex-wife couldn't stand the weather in Toronto.
I love it.
Plain and simple. But
okay.
It was interesting. I'd got my MBA, and the job market was great in Toronto at the time.
Where did you get your MBA in?
Master's in Business Administration.
Business, okay.
Yeah, right. Specializing in marketing and finance.
Okay.
So anyway, job market was great in Toronto when I got it. And anyway, I had a nice job there, but it was a little bit too cold for my ex-wife at the time.
I love it.
And things were picking up in California,
Right.
job-wise. The recession of that time was not quite as bad. So, there were jobs to be had here.
Now, and then you became a math professor
Yes.
for over 15 years.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I reached a point working for in the corporate world.
What did you do? What did you do?
Well, I mostly did finance of financial analysis of commercial real estate.
Oh.
Did that for the most part. Spent a few years also when Best Buy first came in as a marketing analyst.
Okay.
And then after a while, it occurred to me, oh my, I'm 55, and I think I might want to do something else. I've been using this math in my professional career
Right.
for all these years, and I'd like to share it maybe with college students and
Oh.
let them know that, yes.
Math is your friend.
Yeah, sometimes
Right.
you will use algebra. And anyway, I enjoyed that immensely. I really enjoyed my years after that. It was a twilight career being a math professor, and I did that until I just retired at the end of 2017.
And where were you teaching?
I was working 4 different campuses. So
Wow.
I did Valley College, Pasadena College, West LA College, and El Camino College.
Oh, wow. Now, how did you, first of all, you have 24 published works. Does that include, which we're going to get into, the puzzle books, or is that beside the puzzle books?
Well, okay. There are 13 puzzle books that I've
Okay.
written. So anyway, yeah, I have 13 published puzzle books, and of course, lots of stuff that I write voluntarily that I don't publish. I still write the puzzle column for Greater Los Angeles Mensa, and now for Orange County Mensa as well.
Right.
And do that every month. I have to challenge myself to come up with original new ideas for puzzles.
Well, before you challenge yourself anymore, I would like, just to begin with, I'd like some music from you.
Sure. Okay. This is a song that will be in what I hope will be a wonderful peace concert that I'm hoping to produce in conjunction with nonprofits. Okay. It's called War No More. And this song, I hope a lot of you know it, is Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Oh.
And of course, once you hear this, you'll realize that I hire professional singers and professional keyboardists. I do the producing, I do the arrangements, but,
no, but I've
when
heard
it comes
you.
to the stage work, that is delegated. But here it goes. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our Father, brothers all are we. Let me walk with my brother in perfect harmony. Let there be peace on earth, let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't bad
I
at
love
all.
it. Hello.
Thank you.
You're hired. That was a good audition. So that was War No More.
Yes, we're calling the peace concert War No More, which is part of the words of the first song called Down by the Riverside. I'm going to lay down my sword and shield and study War No More.
Right. And what do you tend to do with it when you say make a project out of it? What type?
It's a peace concert.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be a 75-minute concert.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that we'll get one or more nonprofit organizations at a time to use it as their own fundraiser in the name of peace. And those we're only approaching the kind of nonprofits that have a message of peace or a mission of peace.
Right.
So we want to further the cause of peace. That's what it's all
I
about.
think it's fabulous.
Well,
Just
thank
fabulous.
you.
So now let's get back to some of the things. I have to tell the audience something, that in order to keep young and alive, they tell you to do puzzles. I mean,
Yes.
that's like the big thing. My doctor said to me, well, you want to keep Alzheimer's away? You want to keep up with life? Do a puzzle, Pink. So I started. But what I did was not get to yours yet. I went to the children's store. And I figured they are so bright that they know what they're doing. So I went and I got a couple of children's puzzle books. And that's what I started work with, so that my mind would just get the idea of what a puzzle was, because I
Sure.
never knew really. I thought it was just words. And I'm beginning that. So I'm going to also start with yours pretty soon. But tell our audience, where did you begin with the puzzle? Where does it go? How did in other words, what about a puzzle?
And what do you have for beginners?
Yeah.
For beginners.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well,
'Cause that's my next step.
Okay, well, let's do Jackie's question first.
Okay.
And I started writing some math puzzles in conjunction with teaching math. And anyway, I realized that not that many math puzzle books out there that people are buying. A lot of people don't do math puzzles for fun. They do it because they gotta.
Yeah.
And anyway, and then I always liked word puzzles. I enjoy crossword puzzles. I enjoy jumbles and some of the well-known word puzzle types. And then I came up with the idea that I'd like to write a more functional kind of word puzzle book, one where the puzzles are quick. And you could put it down. If you're doing a long Sunday crossword, if you get interrupted before you're done, it's hard to go back
Right,
and
the
remember
mind's
what
not
you
gonna
were
react,
thinking
right.
of. Yes, but with quick puzzles, usually you'll get it quickly, or you just won't get it at all. So I started out writing the Mensa Genius ABC quiz book. That was the first one that I had published. And
what ages would you say that was for?
Maybe for a very, very bright teenager with a very high IQ and sophisticated reading level up through adult.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not for everybody.
Okay.
Again, this is I did this in conjunction with American Mensa, particularly for people who want a somewhat more challenging puzzle. And it served a niche. I wrote a lot of the Mensa puzzle books in recent years. And then one day, my parents were visiting while they were still alive, and
they were from
said,
Toronto, right?
No, actually, New York.
Oh, New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
And anyway, I said, Alan, I can't do any of your puzzles. Why not write something for us older folks, and maybe not quite so difficult, and so on. And they kind of gave me the seed of the idea of doing puzzle books for other markets.
Okay.
And I did one for middle schoolers, and then I wrote a general one called Brain Warmer-Uppers, which elementary school on. Somebody who has a fairly good reading level for elementary school can do a lot of those.
When you say like first grade, second grade, or fourth or fifth, I mean...
More like fourth or fifth.
Fourth is okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it takes a little vocabulary.
Right.
But the one I'm probably most proud of is my book for seniors and baby boomers, and it's puzzles for 50s fans and 60s savorers, because every single puzzle...
Say that again. Say it again.
Puzzles for 50s fans and 60s savorers.
Oh, okay.
Every puzzle has a little bit of letter play or word play, and it has something to do with the 1950s and the 1960s.
Oh.
Those 2 decades, I know, that are so fun to, in my memory.
Right, right. And then, give me a couple of questions.
Sure. Okay. When we talk about major movie titles of the 1950s, one of them was A Streetcar Named
Desire.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Now it's your turn.
There you got it. Another one was a movie of the 50s, Marjorie M.
Morning Star.
Yes, there you go.
I can do that.
Very good. Yes, and I think I already gave you a copy. You'll get to mine, and I think you'll have a very good time. Numbers associated with the 50s and the 60s. 101D.
Dalmatians.
Right.
Wow.
101 Dalmatians. The first version of that came out in the 50s or the 60s.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was a more recent
Was that
one.
Walt Disney's?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
And since you've answered everyone correctly so far, let me get to my hardest one in this group.
I'm going to let her do
No,
this.
no.
LPN 9. LPN 9.
There was a, is it
a movie?
Lily?
No.
It's about long stockings?
No. It's a song actually, and the N is number. So it's LP number 9.
Wow. Bobby?
Love Potion.
Yes, Love Potion number 9.
Great.
Okay.
You got that from
Now,
the show.
I have a question.
Sure.
Have you ever done a similar book that would have movie titles as opposed to song titles?
Oh, this has a combination of
okay.
just about everything and anything. It even has hairstyles of the 50s and
Really?
60s, foods that were popular during those decades.
So Buffon and Pompadour.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be good at this,
Okay. Yeah,
And
sure.
first of all, we're going to go back to it. Where can people find your puzzle books?
On my website.
And what is your website, Alan?
Stilson Works. And if you just go on a search engine and put my name down, Alan Stilson.
And that's STILLSON.
2 L's.
Yes, in fact, let me tell you how you'll remember how to spell it. Alan Stilson. 1 L in Alan, 2 L's in Stilson. Noel in December.
Noel in December. Very good. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So
you're a poet, and you don't know it.
Again, it's just my penchant for puns.
I know.
Anyway, if you just search for my name, usually very quickly on, unless Google starts playing around with my account or something, which rumors have it they might, you'll see Stilson Works, which is something about all the works that I've done, all the puzzle books and
what other puzzle books? Now we have the 50s and 60s there. We have for seniors. Now what about for I don't know, veterans? Have you ever thought of that?
Not as a specific category, but many of the veterans will see a lot of questions in the 50s and the 60s that have to do with the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and some of the things that took place. Also, there were just so many important current events during the 50s and the 60s. So, yeah, I think veterans would find that a very good read.
I'm curious. You have a lovely wife that's how I first met you.
Yes.
Because I met Gail. I was doing a lot of seminars at Oasis and other places, and Gail was one of my best supporters in the whole world. She always came to my workshops, and they were called Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life, and
Yes.
she was always there. How did you meet, and is she interested in all this stuff?
Oh yeah. She's really taking a lot of interest in these things, and but probably more than anything else, we really share a lot of music and theater things. We go to the theater a lot. We go to hootenannies, sing-along events all the time.
I'll give you a trivia question.
Okay.
Who was a regular on the Hootenanny program way back when, and then went on to star on Broadway in Fiddler on the Roof?
Oh, that would probably be Zero Mostel.
No.
Oh, and
But
Herschel
he-
Bernardi?
No. They were both in Fiddler.
Okay.
How about Theodore Bickel?
Oh, Theodore Bickel.
And we taped a tribute to Theodore
With
in
his
the
lovely
studio.
wife,
good.
It'll
Amy
be coming
Ginsberg.
up soon.
Yeah.
Excellent. Did they sing Donna Donna?
No.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
you mentioned that song.
Yes.
too.
Yes,
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 yes.
No, what we did is we took excerpts of his spoken word.
Right.
Which
and
was
he,
fabulous.
He participated
Yes.
in the show, even though he passed about 2.5 years ago.
I know. I was at the Gindi Auditorium several months before he passed away when he did one of his shows.
Oh, really?
His book
He
presentation.
was about 90
What a
or
great
91.
man.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Just fabulous.
Yes. Very
if
inspiring.
If you were to say, who were some of the people that inspired you to do what you're doing?
Well, I as far as the puzzles go, I'd have to start with Will Shortz, who is a wonderful puzzle author, and to this day, he's still the editor of the New York Times crossword puzzle.
Really?
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful guy, and such an imagination.
That's
and
what you need.
He also, as an editor, he gets to meet all the authors of crossword puzzles and various kinds. He puts on these wonderful conventions for people
Really?
who enjoy solving puzzles, writing puzzle books, and so on.
Now, where do they have these conventions? I never heard that.
All over the country. It's
Oh,
called
wow. Okay.
National Puzzlers League.
I love it.
If you're looking for a group that's even smaller than Mensa, this is it.
I was going to ask the question, how many people are registered with Mensa in this country?
We have about 50,000 Americans who belong to Mensa,
Oh, okay.
about 100,000 worldwide. The two biggest countries for Mensa members are U.S. and England.
Wow.
And we were watching one of the cable shows about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, and one of the newscasters, Rachel Maddow, just submitted and they published her first contribution as a puzzle in the New York Times puzzle.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
First time ever.
Great.
What does it take, Alan? Because most of my viewers I know are not puzzle writers or makers. What does it take? I think the first thing would be imagination.
It's imagination,
And what
but there's
else?
a certain kind of imagination. You see a word somewhere, and then you're looking at what about that word? Is there some way you could maybe tweak the word a little bit?
Okay.
And that would, for instance, one of my favorite puns has to do with a man who visits his doctor for man problems, and it turns out that his doctor is a little heavy. And one day he visits his heavy doctor, and he's surprised that that the doctor can give him a weather forecast. Why? Because he was a meteorologist.
Meteorologist. Okay, that one we have to call my brother as soon as we leave the
Right,
studio.
Right. 'Cause my brother-in-law is like, that's his thing. Every day he'll call us with, something like that, and it's adorable. Well, right now I'm ready for another song.
Okay.
And I know our audience is.
Good. Well, in that case, I
In
shall
that case,
deliver
we're ready.
another song which will appear in War No More, and this is in the section of the need to have peace at home.
Oh.
And so anyway, this one is No Man is an Island.
Oh.
Was made famous by the Lettermen, but a lot of people have forgotten this song, so I'm hoping that people will remember it again. No man is an island, no man stands alone. Each man's joy is joy to me, each man's grief is my own. We need one another, so I will defend each man as my brother, each man as my friend. I saw the people gather, I heard music start. The song that they were singing is ringing in my heart. No man is an island, no man stands alone. Each man's joy is joy to me, each man's grief is my very own. We need one another, so I will defend each man as my brother, each man as my friend.
Yes. To my dear audience out there, when I say it ain't over till you say it's over, you can see with Alan Stilson here, you can see exactly what I'm talking about, because age doesn't matter. It's the heart, it's the soul, it's the mind, it's the dedication and passion that one has to do the work that they love to do, to reach out to the community and the world. And Alan, that's what you do with your music, with your puzzles, with your Mensa organization, with everything you do. You're the epitome of a life that is being lived well. And I want to thank you for being on our show today.
And I got to tell you, I want to go back to what happened up at Bel Air Presbyterian, because here was an enormous church, one of the largest on the West Coast, allowing a Jewish community of veterans. And I would tell you that maybe 25% of those who came to services were Jewish. But the other 75% were Protestants and Catholics and Buddhists and Muslims, because what we did was universal. And you were one of their favorite people. In all of the years that we've been doing this, I still get people who say, I remember that man, Alan. I remember him getting us around that piano and entertaining and including us. You touched a lot of hearts. World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War. We had people like Sadie Sonnenreich, who died at 102.
102.
And she would frequently say, what do you know about that man that we sang with? And Millie Taylor, who was a nurse in World War II, and Bob Zinzel, who flew B-29s. You touched all their lives, and I want the audience to know that. And they should come and support the theater and get your books, because you do so much for so many. And we are very much honored that you're spending time with us.
And again, where can they reach you?
The website is the way to go. And if you happen to be a Luddite who never got into the whole world of computers and smartphones and the like, just ask a friend or a relative, just ask them to search for Alan Stilson on a search engine, look for Stilson Works. And the nice thing about the website too is it's loaded with sample puzzles.
Oh, really? Oh,
loaded
okay. I
with
like
them.
that.
Yes.
So that they can get it off the internet?
Oh,
okay.
sure. Try it out. You get, you get a test drive.
That's right. And we have people all the time who write to us and say, I remember the show and I remember the person, but I didn't write it down.
Right.
So if they write to Pink Lady on our website, pinkladypresentsla.com, they will forward whatever questions they have to you. And
wonderful.
And you'll at great time too, coming up with the holidays.
For puzzle gifts.
For educational, fun gifts to give people that you care about.
Now, you mentioned, I don't think we ever got an answer. What are a couple of names of books that are for beginners?
Okay, yeah, for beginners.
That's what I'm interested in.
I would strongly recommend the Brain Warmer Uppers.
Okay. Brain Warmer Uppers.
Well, the tough ones are called brain teaser books.
Okay.
So we don't want you to tease your brain or
then I
to get a headache or anything.
People get
like
frustrated.
Right,
yes,
exactly.
they can.
Okay.
But the nice thing with the Brain Warmer Uppers is that it's a good way to to train your mind into how puzzles work. Sometimes you have something that's buried within a sentence. For instance, if you're looking for the spelling of a number, let's say you're looking for the spelling of the number 1.
Okay.
It might have something like, did I mention eggs on the breakfast menu?
Okay.
The mention ends in O-N and the eggs begins with E. So you just have to connect 3 letters.
It.
Yeah, that type of thing.
So what would you say are a couple of key things that someone new to puzzles should think about? Because you just said like a flow of something and grabbing a word from it or something. What is like, if you was to say, Pink, in order for you to do this book, think of 3 things to kind of get you into, understanding it.
Right. One of the things that helps with word puzzles is vowels and consonants.
Okay.
Another thing is look for things that seem to connect. For instance, if you're looking for a hidden letter, let's suppose you're trying to find a number like 1. So you might want to just look and see, is there something over here with O-N-E or T-E-N or an easy to find number? You're not going to find a number like 37 buried in a sentence.
Right.
But you'll find a number like 1 or 10.
Okay.
And anyway, you just have to try to, if you don't see it at the beginning, just scan, use your eyes and scan the puzzle and see if something pops out at you.
Here's what I did, and tell me if I'm incorrect.
Go ahead.
When I did like a very beginning one, first of all, I used a pen. Wrong thing to do.
Pencil's a good idea.
Yeah, pencil's a good idea. So I blanked it out, started again. I did the ones that I knew I knew. Okay, I just went right through it. I'd do that, I'd do the up, do the down, did it. Then I went back and did the others that were like a little caught me off guard because I had at least like a letter or a thought in some of them.
That sounds like a crossword puzzle that you were doing then.
Well, wait a minute. So a puzzle, isn't that the same?
Oh, no, a crossword puzzle is just one of many types of puzzles.
Okay.
If you've ever done jumble, it's
So this is, yours are puzzle books.
Yes, there are different kinds of puzzles, and a lot of it has to do with the ability of the eye to pick up letters in certain places.
So start just from the top?
Yeah, and crosswords are a little more advanced. They're for the most part, even the easier crosswords are a little bit tougher. And, the cluing, it could be so open to so many possibilities. I like doing the more challenging crosswords. But I'll look at a clue and I'll say, oh my, there's about 5 possible ways to answer this thing.
Really? Okay.
And which one, what did the author have in mind? And so often the authors try to get tricky, with the alternative meaning of
Can you
words.
remember, I know it's a funny question, but can you remember a word or something that you were doing, a puzzle, that stumped you really for a while?
Well, yeah. I would say that, for instance, I might run across the word sauce in a clue.
S-A-U-C-E?
Yes. And the author intended it to mean liquor. Which is a slang word. Sauce is a slang word for liquor. So they were referring to liquor, and I was thinking of, is it tomato sauce or chili sauce or something like that?
That's cute. We would never think about something like that.
Yeah. Some words have very multiple meanings. On one puzzle, I think it was in this, it was themed on the word mark. That has
M-A-R-K?
Yes. A mark has, it could be a grade. A mark could be a stain.
Something,
A mark could be a strike or a spare if you're a bowler.
Right.
So, very often the multiple meanings of words can make for a very interesting, but sometimes a very tough puzzle.
You know what, dear audience? If you want to stay on tune, focused, puzzles is the way to go. With Alan Stilson's many books of puzzles, from anything that you've done, you stimulate our minds.
That's the idea.
I'm now going to go home and I'm going to get a couple of puzzles from you. And I'm going to begin because I want my mind at 86 years young and my 87th year to go on till when I'm 95 and sitting here with you saying, Alan, have you got another puzzle for me? You're going to say yes.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, I'll make you this promise now. If you make it to 105,
okay,
I'll sing Young at Heart.
I love it. I will try my very best, okay?
Yeah.
Alan Stilson, thank you again. Thank your lovely bride for letting you come on with us today, and your son and your family. Dove, it's another great show. I don't want it to end. I want to thank you so very much for making it a delightful day. Everyone, please tune in again. Watch us on Pink Lady Presents. It ain't over, as you can see. God bless all of you. Thank you so much.
Bye, folks.
You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.